Okay, let's get this video started. I wasn't entirely sure I was going to make this video. I didn't even know if I needed to say it out loud or if I needed to put it on video or say it publicly or anything like that. And I was talking to my dear friend Nikki last night, and I was telling her kind of this revelation that I had on Saturday night, and it was this pure moment of clarity that I had, that I'm really thankful for YouTube and all of my channels and everything that I've gone through online to bring me. Really, I really do think that brought me to this one moment. Somebody commented in my video that I did the other day, and they said, Peter, you're literally losing it. And I probably am. But sometimes you have to lose it to find it, you know? And so, I was talking to Nikki last night, and I was reading her a little bit of what I have written, and I said, I don't know that I should really make this video. I don't know that... I just don't know if I feel like I need to say this. Like, people are probably so tired of these diatribes of me explaining where I'm at in my life. But, you know, like, that's what I've always done since I've been on YouTube. Even when I was on my BookTube channel, just starting out, you know, is that I just always kind of have shared where I'm at. And that was something that I learned very early in sobriety, was to live out loud. And to tell on yourself. And telling on yourself means to share exactly where you're at that moment. And so I asked Nikki, I said, do you think that I should make this video? And she said, do you think that you should make this video? And you know, it was interesting. I sat there for a second and I thought about it. And I said to her, I think that if what I have to say... And this has kind of always been my attitude whenever I share anything about what I'm going through online or offline, or with talking about, you know, grieving my mother's passing, or my recovery story, or, you know, marriage problems and marriage, you know, therapy, or therapy on my own, or talking about anything that I'm going through in my life, right? That I'm always hoping that by sharing my story, maybe one person out there, it helps. And if I've only helped one person, then I think that's enough. You know, it doesn't have to help 100 people. It doesn't have to help even 10 or 20 people. If just one person, something that I say moves them, then, you know, something that I've learned, that I pass on and I've planted the seed, has maybe impacted the life of somebody else the way that people have shared things with me have impacted my life. You know, as a person in recovery, I firmly believe that there's no greater power than one person sharing their story with another. And so I said to her, I said, yeah, I said, I think if what I share inspires one person out there, you know, that's maybe stuck or in a rut, then I think maybe I should make the video. And she was like, then I think you should make the video. And so I'm making the video. Now, this is kind of a different video for me to make because I have the whole thing scripted and I want to read it to you. It's kind of a rough draft, but let me kind of set the scene for you. So Saturday night, I just was like being bombarded, being sent stuff, and just, you know, this person's saying this, and this is being said about you, and people are saying that you're, you know, you're lying about this, and you're lying about that, and it's things like lying about my sobriety, or that I'm not really sober, or lying about being in, you know, therapy, and that I don't really have a therapist, or lying about having a master's degree, and I don't really have a master's degree. You know, it's these things of my life that are literally just threads of my life that are woven into who I am today, that make me who I am today, you know? And so, I don't know why that night, like, I get sent this stuff a lot, even though I asked not to be sent this stuff, and I don't go searching it out. I think there's this misconception that I do, but I don't. I learned that a while ago. It's, to be honest with you, it's too overwhelming for me. And so I don't go search it out and I don't go seek it, but I was being sent a lot of this stuff. And so I was watching some show. I don't even know what I was watching. And so I went outside and I was like, okay, I need to just like take a breath. I, you know, made a cup of coffee, and I went outside and I sat, and every night before I go to bed, like towards the end of the night, I always do a 10-step inventory. And in recovery, that's where you kind of take a look back over your day. And so I usually do that outside. And so that's what I was trying to do. And so I did my 10-step inventory, and I did my prayers and my meditations, and I do a gratitude list every single day where I look back specifically on that day and the things that I'm grateful for. And then I have things that I go through that I'm grateful for every single day. And I'm, you know, grateful for my relationship with my higher power, which you don't have to have one, but for me, that's something that's important to me. And then I go through and after I say that, the next thing I say is I always say I'm grateful for my life, my health, and my sobriety. And then I go through, you know, everything in my life, from my husband to my dog to my friends to my home to, you know, food to water, and YouTube is always part of that. And being on YouTube and being privileged enough to be able to make videos that people want to watch, and being able to share parts of my life and share my story, you know, it really truly is a privilege. And then on top of that, to have people that are so kind to me and so nice to me, you know, and I know that in the last few months, I focused a lot on the negativity that I've received because it's been super overwhelming, and I focused a lot on that. And that's a little bit of what I want to talk about today, because I had this moment of clarity. And so I got done with all of that, and then I had been watching The Tourist. And so in The Tourist, season 2, they play the song The Piano Man. And it's one of my favorite songs by Billy Joel of life. I think if you grew up in my era, it probably is one of your favorite songs too. And so I like downloaded this live version of it. And then for some reason, I was thinking of the song Sweet Caroline, because, you know, my cousin Caroline is one of my closest people in my life and has been just such a you know, a heartstone in my life. And I was thinking of that song, and so I was like looking at different live versions. I love live music, and so I found a Dave Matthews Band version, which I'd totally forgotten that Dave Matthews, I love Dave Matthews, that he had covered Sweet Caroline. And then I found this live version of Neil Diamond doing it, and it was like from like 1982 or something like that. And then I found this live cover of Piano Man from 2008 in New York City with Billy Joel. And the only reason I'm sharing that with you is because I want to kind of set the mood for what happened. And so I'm listening to this music, you know, and I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I'm like looking at these memes, and at the same time, I'm like thinking of all this stuff that people have been sending me, right? And I'm like thinking to myself, should I get on a video? You know, should I get on a video? I was going to reach for him over here. Should I get a just to demonstrate it? But should I get on a video and like show all my sobriety coins? Should I show my master's degree again? You know, should I, like, you know, my therapist has been willing to be on video with me. Should I do that? Do I need to prove? Like, I didn't know what to, I was like, and I get all caught up with it in my head, right? And so I'm listening to this music and I'm reading these memes. Now, I know memes are cheesy. I'm the first person to admit that. But, you know, it was kind of like a moment where, like, opportunity meets desire meets moment of clarity meets come to Jesus moment. And it was like all of that together for me. And that's what happened. And that's where this video is coming from. So I want to tell you what happened because it was such a freeing moment for me. And ever since that night, I have just felt like this huge weight lifted off my shoulders. You know, like, since that moment, like, even, like, I went back inside and, you know, every night while I'm watching shows on my iPad, I light a bunch of candles and, you know, make a cup of coffee and, you know, get real cozy and all that kind of stuff. And I just, like, I was sitting there and I was watching the show and I felt so, like, my mind just felt lighter. I felt free. For the first time, honestly, in a long time that I have felt this way. And so I wanted to share with you guys what happened. So let's get into this, shall we? It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. I thought that might set the mood a little bit. Some of you are probably laughing. Let me get my reading glasses on. I'm just going to read this to you guys because I actually spent quite some time writing it. So I don't know why I'm so nervous to make this. This thing happened last night, and it might be insignificant to some people, but it was a huge moment for me. A moment of freedom, of letting go. So this might be the realest video that I have ever made on YouTube, at least for me. It's no mystery to anyone that watches me on any of my channels that for the last few months I've talked a lot about the hate that I've received. I've become consumed with it. I've become consumed with people stalking me, harassing me, accusing me of lying about everything from my sobriety to my education to therapy to intimate details of the car accident that I was in and so much more. Things I have literally nothing to gain by lying about. Yeah, I pretty much shouted it from the mountaintops, how frustrated I am with it and what I'm going to do about it and all on and on and on and all that, you know. And I probably will. I just want to put this out there, just caveat. I probably will. From time to time, I'll probably get frustrated and do it again and shout it out again. This is not a moment of clarity that is going to solve all problems, but I hope it's a moment of clarity that will help me grow moving forward. You know, I feel like I'm growing up on YouTube. Like, I feel like, well, maybe not growing up, but figuring myself out, you know, figuring out things about myself, who I am, where I want to be, where I want to go, changing things about myself that I didn't like in the past and trying to grow into a better person, trying to grow into a more evolved person on a daily basis. I don't want to be that person that I was yesterday, let alone I don't want tomorrow for me to be the person I am today. I want to continue to grow and grow and grow, you know. I say this on my Peterisms channel a lot, but I'm a believer that life is like a school, and once you are presented a lesson, and I do believe that we're presented lessons in life, and that lessons are repeated until they are learned. And once you learn a lesson, you just go on to the next grade, and you're presented another lesson to learn, and that lesson is repeated until it is learned. And that's kind of life. And lessons are never over. You are never fully educated. You are never fully grown. You're constantly growing. You're constantly, you know, evolving. And so for me, it's always been about remaining teachable and always remaining teachable to a lesson, you know. I did read this one meme last night, and I want to share it with you, or the other night, because this one said, give yourself more credit. You're trying to grow while trying to heal. You're trying to forgive while trying to grieve. You're trying to search while trying to let go. And you're trying to love others while remembering how to love yourself. You're doing the best that you can. And I think sometimes a lot of us beat ourselves up, you know. We make one small mistake or 20 big mistakes, and we think that we can't get out of it, you know. And I think it's about learning and growing and ever changing and evolving, you know. Not necessarily to prove a point to everybody out there, but to really for yourself. And I'm a believer that the more you learn and the more you grow and the more you change, the more you enjoy life. I've said that in a lot of my videos, you know, and that the more you understand about yourself and about the world around you, and the more you remain teachable, the more you're able to really, truly enjoy your life, you know? So anyway, let me get back to my notes. So, you know, like, I feel like on YouTube especially, and especially I would say like in the last 6 months, going through, you know, my standing up for myself era where I was like, you know, cussing at every video and screaming and I'm standing up for myself. And then I got to the point where I was not in my standing up for myself era. I was just standing up for myself, you know? I like had moved through that. And then there was like this calm and this peace that came after that. But it didn't feel fully realized or fully evolved yet, if that makes sense. But I felt different. I felt like, and I needed to go through that. Like, I needed to go through that online, which is why, for me, even though they may just seem like silly drama videos or whatever, and maybe they are, it's like me constantly like changing and growing, you know? And somebody said on my video, a while back, it was like during this standing up for myself era, they said, I feel like we are witnessing the evolution of Peter Monn in real time. And I loved that comment so much because I feel like that's what it is, you know? Like, I mean, I think in any career or job that you have, from the day that you start to the day that you retire, you're going to forever change and grow. And the things you learn on your job are not just about the job. You know, they're about yourself. You learn so many things. You learn about patience at your job and humility. And you learn about, you know, making amends and apologizing to people and taking responsibility and taking accountability and love and dislike and forgiveness, you know. And we learn all those things in whatever job we have, you know, whether you're a YouTuber or an attorney, a doctor, or a host at Walmart, or a server in a restaurant. I think we learn those things in every job that we're in. At least I hope we are. I hope that we're open enough to learn those things. And YouTube has provided me the space to grow and change and learn. And I think sometimes because it's been held right in my face. So there hasn't been a way for me to look away from it, you know? And so, like, I'm this forever changing and evolving person, and that's good, you know? And I'm really, really extremely thankful for this experience. And I think all along, maybe, my entire time on YouTube, all 7 channels, all of it, might have just been for this one moment of clarity that I had on Saturday night. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But I like to kind of believe in stuff like that, you know? And this is kind of where I'm at. I wanted to share with you guys where I'm at. And like I said before, you know, just because I have this moment of clarity does not mean that 2 videos from now, I hope not. 4 videos from now, I hope not. 20 videos from now, you know, that I'm not like getting angry and all that kind of stuff. But I hope this moment lasts. I hope this moment has a profound effect on me the way that it did the other night and the way that it still does today. But I know that I'll get angry and frustrated again. I've learned that. That's, you know, part of life, I think. And I know that now, you know. Someone on my video the other day, when I was doing the video talking about people taking my pictures and, you know, making fake identities or whatever, they commented on the video. It was somebody that's commented for a long time and follows my videos. It wasn't a mean comment. And they said if they had all of these stalkers, that they wouldn't continue to post online. And it was interesting because I've gotten that comment before, right? And I've actually, when I've gotten that comment before, I'm like, well, why would you stop posting online just because you have all this hate? And so the other night when I got that comment, it was interesting because I thought to myself, why do you continue to post online? Like, you get so much hate. You know, there's all these people behind the scenes that are trying to make your life miserable. People are constantly accusing you of lying about the most minute details of your life. You know, at one point, people were saying that my husband was in love with his best friend, Sarah, and things like that, and that our relationship of 15 years was all a ruse. It was all fake, you know? And I mean, it's nonstop, and people send it to me, and I don't want to see it, right? And so, but I still see it, because, like I said, it's sent to me, you know? And so, I was thinking to myself the other night, like, I took a moment, like I usually never do, like when I get that comment, I just, like, in my head immediately respond, and like, I'm not going to stop posting online. But in that moment, I asked myself, why do you continue to post online? You know, other than it being your job, other than it being something that you absolutely love, other than it being something that you absolutely love, that you refuse to let the people that don't like you win, and that you don't want that taken away from you. You know, like, it's a lot. It really is a lot. I don't think anybody has any idea how much it is, you know? It's so much more than, you know, people are like, oh, he doesn't edit videos. No, I don't edit videos, you know, like, and, you know, oh, well, he just sits down and films a video in his bed. I just sit down and film a video in my bed. It's very easy what I do. It's not difficult, right? But behind the scenes, the negativity that goes along with it is a lot. It really is, in all honesty, you know? And as somebody that grew up being bullied, you know, all through elementary, junior high, and high school, and constantly having people talk about me, and constantly having people say things about me, you know? This experience for the last 7 years on YouTube is 100 times worse. And in all honesty, you know, which is why I really hate when people diminish the word bullying, because what I have received by sharing my opinion about public figures, not digging in and diving into going in and looking at their personal, you know, all this information and all that kind of stuff, but just based on what they put out there, my personal opinion on that, right? I have received so much hate and negativity that I think that the normal person would ask, why do you continue to post online, you know? I mean, I go get another job, you know? I'm an educated person. I have work experience. And so I asked myself that in that moment, you know? And I think it was like the first time, honestly, it was the first time in a very long time that I kind of even questioned, like, is it worth it? Like, should I just shut down shop and just be done with it? Like, I'm kind of tired of it, you know? And, like, I have let it bother me so much, right? And in the last year, YouTube has been such a growing experience for me. You know, I've gone through so many changes, and I know to some people it's boring and nauseating, and they're like, God, here he is again, right? But something came over to me that Saturday night, you know, this last Saturday night. And I had this moment, this single moment of clarity with all these thoughts going around in my head, you know? The fact that I have to defend the fact that I even have 7 channels. Like, people go bonkers over that. He has 7 channels. I have 7 channels, you know? That I don't edit. People go crazy over that, you know? That I spend my time watching shows and reading books and hanging out with my husband and my dog and shopping online, you know? And going to the pool and talking to my neighbors and traveling and going to meetings, you know, with my friends and getting coffee. And I have so many people out there, you know, that watch my videos that I will never meet, that are so kind to me to allow me to have all this. That, you know, like, I'll never meet most of you. And you guys leave me the kindest messages and the kindest comments and, you know, and all of that. And have gotten me through so many, you really, I mean, so many people somebody just messaged me last night. We were messaging and she said, you really, like, she said, you saved my life at one point. And like, for me to hear that is like, it's almost baffling, right? Like, she's like, you got me through such a hard time. And, I don't think you guys really realize how much you've saved my life and how much you've really gotten me through in my life. You know, maybe you do, I don't know. But I don't think you could ever have any idea or how blessed I feel to just throw that all away, you know? I think that one thing, like, I talk a lot about being bullied, and I talk a lot about growing up in this, you know, environment of hate. And that's what it was. It was a battlefield. My elementary, junior high, and high school were battlefields, and I grew up in an environment of hate. And every day was terrified to go to school, didn't know what was going to happen, you know? And I think that one of the things that happens when you grow up in that is that you become a little bit resilient, you know? You become resilient, and you become stronger and maybe a little bit immune to it, to the point where over time, the hatred just seems expected. It just kind of seems like something that goes along with the territory. And that's a problem. Like, that's really a problem that we're okay with that, you know? I mean, I think, like, one of the things that's really got me through it is whenever I think about the people that are the people out there that really don't like me and literally spend entire days out there and there are people, this is why this person reached out to me last night, because she was like, did you see this I was like, no, and, you know, and so we were talking, and she was like, you know, the fact that these people are literally spending their entire days, like, researching things about you, and it's obscene. It's absolutely obscene. It's pathetic. It really is, that you're trading in your life, the one life that you are given. When people are fighting for their lives every single day, you're trading your one life for the hatred that you have for me. You know, and so I think that part has kind of got me through it too, because it's sad. It really is sad. And so I've always tried to, you know, like, my sponsors in early sobriety would say to me, you have to want for somebody else what you want for yourself. And so that's kind of what I've tried to do, is, you know, walk around in their shoes for a moment, you know? But it's not easy, you know? But I have this life where I get to get up every single day and make videos on 7 channels. And I get to hang out with my dog all day long at home, you know, and talk to my neighbors and go to the pool and go to meetings and drink coffee with my friends, you know, and hang out with my husband and travel. We go to travel wonderful places, you know, and have amazing vacations. I get to watch TV shows and movies every night, you know, and I get to rest and relax. Like, I can remember years ago reading this book called The 4-Hour Workweek that was like a national bestseller, you know, the New York Times bestseller list. And it was like teaching people how to only, like, work 4 days a week and pay your bills and have this amazing life. And I can remember reading this at the time and thinking to myself, like, this is not possible. I've even talked about it on videos, I think, in the past, where this guy had owned this, like, huge company and sold it. And so, of course, he had all this money to, like, travel, and he had an online business and whatever. And, you know, he was like, yeah, when you have an online business, you can work from everywhere. And I remember thinking at the time, like, who is this possible for? That's my life today. You know? I think most of us are aiming for more time to spend with our friends and family and our dogs, more time to watch the shows we want to watch and read the books we want to watch and travel and pay our bills at the same time. I have an amazing life. I have an absolutely amazing life that people are writing books, teaching other people how to have that life. And I lucked into it. I lucked into this life, you know? Like, I'm so blessed. You guys have given me this life. You gave it to me. I make the videos, you watch them. You gave me this life. And I feel beyond blessed, you know? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking about this, you know, the people that I'll never meet, the people that watch my videos, the people that laugh with me, the people that cry with me, you know? We share opinions. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, you know? And there's a few people out there that don't like me, but that's always been the case in my life. And that was the moment that I had, right? That there have always been people from the day that I stepped into the classroom in kindergarten that did not like me. That's always been the case. What was I, 5? Now I'm 51. That's been my entire life. There's always been people that aren't going to like me, right? And I was like, this is the perfect life that I have. Like, I literally have the perfect life, right? I live a charmed life. I have been given an amazing life. I've been given, as my old sponsor used to say, a life beyond my wildest dreams. Why am I defending it? You know? I get to do all this and pay my bills. I have such a blessed life, you know? And I know that, but I let this small notion of deception by people who do not like me seep into my head by people of the lie. You know, listen, I'm 51. I'm not getting any younger. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this music. I'm listening to Piano Man, you know, whatever, and all this kind of stuff. And I saw these memes, and I love memes, don't you, you know? And all of a sudden, the song changes, and it's Sweet Caroline, right? And I love that song because of my cousin Caroline. And so I'm reading these memes, and I want to read these memes to you. The first meme that I saw said, "The best part of being authentic is that there is no image to maintain. You will delight some and disturb others. None of it will concern the truth of your being." And the next one said, "You absolutely have to become okay with not being liked. No matter how loving or kind you are, you will never people please your way into collective acceptance. You could be a whole ray of sunshine and people will hate you because they're used to rain. Be okay with shining regardless." The last one, which is my favorite, says, "Be yourself. People do not have to like you, and you do not have to care." And I read those and I was listening to it, and right as I got done with that last one was the song, you know, the part of Sweet Caroline, and I was thinking about my cousin, and it's the part where it says, "Good times never seem so good." So good! So good! You know that part? We all love that part, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about that, right? I'm driving around with my cousin. This is going to stop. Hold on just a second. I'm getting to the end, so I didn't want it to stop right before I got to the end. And so I'm thinking about myself, like driving around with my cousin. I'm listening to Sweet Caroline, bum, bum, bum. Good times never seem so good. So good, so good. We all know that, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it, you know, and I'm like, all of a sudden my mood completely changes, and I'm reading this and I'm like, why do I care? Why do I care? I have lived too long. I have lived too long, experienced and gone through too much shit in my life to give a rat's ass about what somebody thinks about me based on a lie that they have convinced themselves is true. Why am I defending myself? Why am I this is ridiculous. Why am I there? You know, I often think about my dad, you know, like my dad at 51, you know, my dad who was like confident, traveling the world. He would never have put up with this shit. If somebody came up to him and said, you know, you lied, you don't really have this, he'd be like, okay, think I'm lying. I don't really give a shit that you think I'm lying, you know? And I'm sitting there and all this is going through my head, right? And I thought, you shouldn't be embracing, or you shouldn't be defending your life. You should be embracing your life. You need to step into this and embrace it. Fuck it. Fuck the people that don't like you. They're never going to like you. You're never going to convince them otherwise. No matter how many master's degrees you show in a video. Oh, well, that's fake. He printed it off on... It doesn't matter how many times you show that. If I had my therapist, it's an actor I hired. It doesn't matter. They're never going to believe you anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you know? What is that scene from back in the day? What was that movie? I can't remember it now. My mom loved that movie where Bill Murray, it's at the camp, and he's like, it just doesn't fucking matter. You remember that? It's like that, right? And I'm like, I need to just like step into this life and embrace it. Be the fantastic, fabulous self that's like walking down the street, you know, as I'm walking down the street to Diana Ross, the boss, you know, and doing disco moves as I'm walking down the street and waving to my neighbors. That's who I am. That's who I need to be 24 hours a day. And if I need to cry, sometimes cry. And if I need to dance, sometimes dance. And embrace it and step into it. And fuck the people that don't like me, you know? If people don't believe you, who cares? It doesn't matter. They don't like you anyway, you know? And if they don't like you, who cares? Embrace your life, you know? Fuck it. I should teach this to people. I should write a book and teach seminars and workshops. People are selling this shit for $29.95, you know? How to work from home, pay your bills, and travel the world. I mean, how to hang out with your dog all day long and watch TV shows. I have a fucking amazing life. And I'm sitting here defending it to a bunch of fools, right? Like, what is going on? Why have I ever allowed myself to get to this point? And that weakness is what they feed on. And I was like, I'm done, right? Like, I'm done. You know, I'm done. And then I came up here to the bedroom and got in bed. The fan was on, you know, so cozy. Had put on the new linens and stuff like that. And I got into bed and I laid down on my back and my little dog, Boo Radley, you know? And I try to focus on each and every single day that I have with him. He's 14 and a half, you know? And I try to focus on each and every day. Because you don't know, you know? He might not make it to tomorrow. Or he might make it to be 18. I'm hoping the dog makes it to 39. But he gets up and he stretches. And I can see him in the light of the moon, you know? Coming in and he's stretching. And all of a sudden he goes and he just curls right underneath my arm. And everything is perfect in the world in that moment, you know? Everything in that moment is perfect. And it's a small sign, you know? But it's a sign nonetheless. And I'm sitting there and I was thinking about having listened to, you know, this live version. I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking about this live version of the Billy Joel, you know, he was singing to New York City, you know, 2008. The Piano Man, you know? And he's, it's just part at the very end. And the audience, he like goes silent and the audience sings, you know? Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. 'Cause we're all in the mood for a melody. You've got us feeling alright. And I just had this smile on my face. Because right after that, when the concert ends, he says, thank you, New York. Don't put up with anybody's bullshit. And I remember hearing that earlier in the night. And I was like, yes, yes. Don't take shit from anybody. I love my life. I feel blessed to have my life. You have given me my life. And I'm forever grateful for that. Don't ever be afraid of yourself. Don't ever let anybody else take away your joy of what makes you happy. I was, for too long, I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of other people. And I was afraid of them taking away my joy. And I allowed them to take away my joy for a really long time, you know? Don't let others take away the song that you dance to that puts a smile on your face. Whatever that song may be. Shine on, you crazy diamond. And forever, forever, be too much. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.